Hello fishing friends, this is Matthew with Outfishing 13 bringing you another reel service and repair video. Today I have an old spinning reel. It's a Pflueger Supreme 600. Pretty nice old reel. I've had this reel for over 25 years, and before that it was vintage. Before I got it used off of eBay. And I've used this in Alaska and here in Utah. So if this could tell stories, who knows where it's been. But it's a very fine made in USA reel. So let's get started on it. Okay, here's my old Pflueger Supreme 600 spinning reel. I'm not even sure what year it is, but it still works great. It's just a little bit stiff, because I haven't used it in years. I just had it sitting around, but everything works on it. There are some things I need to do to it, but I'm not going to take the whole thing apart. Mainly we're going to take it apart so we can primarily service the gears and the inside and clean up the bail. So to get started, we're going to take the front apart first. We just undo the drag here on the spool and take that all the way off. And this is a plastic piece with a metal nut in the inside. And then the spool will come right out. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to take this out so that we can take the spinner off. To do that, we need to take off these 3 screws and take a little pin off on the inside. Okay, so there's a little pin right here, and it just comes out of that center shaft right here. Pin out. And then this spool will come out. And what we need to do is we need to clean all this old grease off and put some new clean oil on there. Okay, I want to get down underneath here, and to do that I have a little double nut right here. And I want to get a good pair. So a little wrench will be fine. Let's see if we can get it in there. So there's one nut. And the next nut. And then this will just come right off. We can drop this little washer off right there. Okay. And then we can get in here and clean this up and put some new oil on here. Okay, and grease this up. Make sure this gets oiled and serviced. Okay, I'm not going to take this all apart here. I don't feel like it's necessary at this point in time. You have to take this off here. Maybe another time I'll take it all off. But we just need to clean up some things in here. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to clean up the bail. This is one of those things that's exposed to dirt and grit and can get gummed up. And it needs a slight adjustment to it. So let's take this apart with a big screwdriver. Now this side here has a spring on it, and it has to go back a certain way. That little spring right there goes in that little groove right there. And then this just has, so we want to clean this all up and this up here, and then get it lubricated, clean the inside out here, and clean this up here. Okay, so let's get this cleaned up. I'll be back after I get all my parts cleaned up, and we'll put it back together. Okay, I've got my parts all cleaned up. The first thing I want to work on this reel to get it tuned up and serviced is I want to work on the bail and the spinner here. And one of the things that can happen with a lot of reels is the bail stops being very effective. And it can happen when, like, the bail spring right here, this big bail wire, gets bent and out of shape. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So when I put this lever over here for this hinge on this side, nice and straight and smooth, and you know, kind of get it wiggled there, because right here it can pivot here and it can pivot here a little bit. They're clamped into place and swedged into place, but they can move a little bit, just like this right here can move a little bit. And so if I get this part right here on there, this one doesn't seem to want to be in its spot. See how it's got, it kind of sits there like that, and at an angle. So I want to tweak it a little bit to kind of get it so that it's sitting nice and straight up against the spinner. So I just need to tweak it in a little bit, like so. It's a spring, so it doesn't take very much. Okay, that was looking better to me. It's got a little bit of spring in there, but it's really close. So actually, I'm going to get this side without the spring put on first. It'll be easier to get on there. And that'll help me get the other side put on. And then snug it down. Now this should move when you push down on this right here, so the bail is released. This should work. Just, it should be very smooth and easy to turn. If it's not, and it's stiff like that, it's not going to work. So what I need to do is I need to get another little shim washer of some sort, so that this is not as tight up against there. So I'm going to work on that. That's got to be resolved. So one of the things I noticed when I was taking a look at this is I've got some little burrs on the edge of this surface right here. This piece sticks out a little bit farther than this right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully use a file and clean up those burrs, because I think that that's what's actually causing my issue, instead of necessarily my screw, my spacers. So I've got a little three-sided little file here. And just really carefully take a little material off. and clean up all those little burrs that are on the outside here. Okay, so I got that surface cleaned up. Now it's nice and shiny, and we're going to see how that works this time. So I think I'm going to put a little bit of oil on this before put the bail on. Oh yeah, that's working much better now. See, that's just really free. Now it's working great. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on there. I'm going to wipe off any excess so it doesn't attract dirt and dust and stuff. Okay, now let's work on getting this spring put in and the screw. This side doesn't seem to have any burrs, so I'm okay. Okay, there we go. Okay. What you want to do to make sure this is working right is cock it like that and then push on this little lever back here to make sure it's going to cock just like that. There it is cocked. Oops. There we go. Perfect. So we got that nice and this really functioning well. It was better than it was before. So, and the screws are tight, you know, and that's what we wanted. Well, that one's just a little bit loose. Okay. Okay, now that I have this greased up, I'm going to go ahead and grease this up right now. This is my pen real grease, and this is a good sticky grease. I'm going to go ahead and put the spinner on now. Okay, and there's two flat spots on either side of that that line up with this, so you need to get that lined up. And then it just drops down in there like that. See that? And then we can put on these little lock nuts. We need to tighten this one up first. I got that one tight. And then we'll put this up against it and tighten it up. Just like that. Okay. So while I got at this point, let's test this out. Oh yeah, that's working really nicely. So on these reels right here, it's best if you get it like, you know, looking at it like the 2 o'clock position, cast it, and when it cocks. This is not one of those ones where you can really do by hand. You have to rotate around. Okay, now we can put the main shaft in. I want to put a little bit of oil on it. I don't really want to put grease on there. I want something lightweight. Okay. Then I need to line up. I do want to put a little bit of grease on this shaft right here where it's going to engage with the level wind lever. It's a lever right here. So I just got to line up that hole and drop this little pin in. Just like that. Okay. I've already greased this up, so I'm ready to put my cover back on. I threw those screws. Okay. Now, this right here is the drag washer. It's in really good shape. It doesn't need to be replaced, but it does need a little bit of grease on there. And it shouldn't run dry, but it just needs a little bit of grease just like that. And I need to grease up this shaft right here so when the drag goes out, it's not just metal grinding on metal. Put a little bit of grease on this screw right here for the cap, for that drag adjustment. And then we can put this back together. It needs to seat down there just like that. And then I don't really need to put any grease on this surface right here. Just need to put that on there. I can test the drag just with my hand. Okay. It's running much smoother now, and the bail works really nicely now that I got that adjusted. And the last thing I need to do is I need to oil the handle. And I got this little plug right here, this little screw. Take that little screw out. Don't lose it. And then you can put a little bit of oil right down in here. Just a few drops. And while it's off, go ahead and work it in. Put the screw back on. And one of the other things that you can do, so we can clean up and oil this handle. It's kind of bent a little bit, but we want to put a little bit of oil. We want to clean it up first. And put a little bit of oil on it so it doesn't squeak. You know, before it wouldn't do that on its own. I let go. And, you know, that oil right there has helped out a lot too. But that's feeling so much better. And the caulking is much smoother. All right, there you go. That's the Pflueger Supreme 600 spinning reel, and it's a really nice reel. I don't know how old this is. I remember using one like this when I was just a little kid, and it seemed like it was old back then. So my guess is, if you know what year these were made, please comment below. My guess is that they were made back in the 1960s or before that. It is made right here in the USA. It's got a little chip right here, but that doesn't hurt it at all. The rod clamps clamp on it plenty tight enough. But overall, it's in really good shape, and there's still lots of years of service in this old reel. And it'd be good for me for catching catfish from shore or on the boat. It'd be good even for trolling for trout, whatever I want to use it for. But it's a big reel. I think this right now is like 20-pound test that's on it right now. I could use this reel for fishing for steelhead if I wanted to, or even salmon. But a great reel. So make sure you comment below and give me a big thumbs up. And make sure you subscribe. I've got over 50 reel repair videos, mostly Zebcos, but I've got all these other spinning reels that I own that I'm going to start working on. Thanks, and have a great day the next time you go fishing. Bye.